and today we're going over something. Hi everyone, I'm back. It's your fellow airline pilot turned entrepreneur, and I'm back with a video. Apologies about the hiatus, but I have a little more time on my hands. Obviously, I have a company now. In case you missed it, which I'm sure you did, because how would you know? I actually started a satirical luxury brand called Montecito Minimalist. It started off as a joke. And then I filed a trademark and I actually ended up getting it. And I sell stuff online to a variety of countries. So I guess now it's like a real company. Um, so yeah, anyway, this video it's very glamorous. We're gonna go over trademark law together. So it's a little weird. Um, but yeah, I'm just going to tell you what I learned, what American Riviera Orchard taught me about trademarking Montecito Minimalist, because American Riviera and Montecito are both places in Southern California, and why I got mine, and sort of what the steps are, and then what you can learn if you're going to go on your own route and trademark your own company. So just a quick overview. Why was American Riviera Orchard famous? What happened there? So American Riviera Orchard was started by Meghan Markle, and she wanted to do a lifestyle company. And the lifestyle company sold, I think in the beginning, just like fruit spreads, I think. And she had it for like a year, and the USPTO, the trademark office for the United States government, came back and basically gave her and her lawyers a list of stuff to do. So it wasn't an outright denial, even though there was like a lot of articles that said, "Oh, she's facing this," or whatever. It was just kind of, it was like, "Hey, here's a checklist, run the checklist, and then we'll come back and you can talk to us about that." So I actually have her application here, the first few pages of the American Riviera Orchard. Just a couple of things. They had to disclaim some of the descriptive wording. They had to amend some of the identification of goods just because it was a little too vague. They had to pay for the right amount of classes because they had filed for 19, but they had only paid for 17. And they also couldn't figure out for the actual logo itself, they couldn't figure out where the O was for American Riviera Orchard. So I'm going to try to put that logo up here so you guys can see it. That was pretty much it. Now, what does that mean when they have to amend the name? That's kind of, I think, where, and again, I'm not a lawyer, I'm just a pilot, and I run a little business, and I have a trademark, so this isn't legal advice, okay? But I think what it was because they had to, they basically said that they couldn't claim American Riviera or Orchard. So if they were going to use the name, it was going to have to be in full, American Riviera Orchard. So they didn't actually own the rights to American Riviera or Orchard. So you could kind of see maybe like down the road how that would affect them, right? That would be if someone wanted to come up with Santa Barbara Orchards or Montecito Orchards, right? That could possibly cause some confusion. But where the super confusion came from, and this is kind of diving down, is that orchard is a descriptor of the land. It's basically a place where food comes from, and she's selling food. So it makes it somewhat confusing. And she lives there, right? So if you look at the initial paperwork that the patent or the trademark office filed, it actually has a screenshot of an article that talks about how Meghan lives in Montecito now, which would cause confusion if you're buying a product from her, right? Because you're going, "Oh, was this made in her backyard? Was this actually made in Montecito or the American Riviera? Was this an orchard?" Like, right? So that causes confusion. And I think that's, and again, I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but I think that's why they kind of stepped away, because like I said, the trademark office was like, "Hey, you can keep it, you just can't own either name. You have to own it all as one." And they also wanted for her to edit her team to edit the international classes, which I believe was 35 and 20, yeah, 35 and 29. Class 29 was jellies, jams, marmalades, and fruit preserves, and class 35 was food. So again, when I should clarify here that trademark classes are basically categories that the Patent and Trademark Office uses to organize what you're selling, such as clothing or food or retail store services. So when you file a trademark, you pick the classes that match your actual products or services. And the more classes you choose, the more complex and expensive your application gets. You're talking about provisions, the person lives there, the company's based there, but is the food actually from there? I think that's kind of where the trademark office said, hey, this could cause confusion. And really, that was really the whole reason behind their trademark application kind of hitting a speed bump there. The one example that I came up with is if I went to Napa and I opened a winery and then I tried trademarking Napa Valley Winery, it's like, well, Napa's known for wine. It's a winery. That's a little too vague, right? So that's kind of where the issues kind of stem from. Now, I was told by some very wonderful friends with, I'll put this out here for this particular subreddit, saintly intentions, that I would not be getting the Montecito Minimalist trademark because I had a location in the name. And upon reading this and knowing that, these people are incredibly wealthy, they have lots of access to lawyers, right? They had deals with like major streaming studios. I thought, oh my gosh, if they can't get it, then I'm not going to get Montecito Minimalist. But I wanted to file anyway as a way to kind of protect myself, if that makes any sense. I just kind of wanted to go, oh, okay, no, I've got it. It's fine. I'm protected, and even if the trademark's denied, at least like for that period of time, I would have been protected for no one else to come in and step in. But where Montecito Minimalist is different is that it's an aesthetic. See, you can actually trademark a place. Think of Seattle's Best Coffee and think of Philadelphia cream cheese, right? We don't just think that like Philadelphians make a bunch of cream cheese and Seattle's Best Coffee. Well, there's another very famous Seattle coffee shop, right? So you can trademark a place. You just need to have your ideology down, right? So in the event of geographic locations, well, actually, let me start it this way. When I got the same exact thing, I got a non-final office action. I got homework from the USPTO, and it was basically, hey, you have to show us the goods, and then they gave me a list of 6 questions, really easy questions. I'll give you a couple of them. Does the term Montecito and/or minimalist describe a feature of the goods or services? Are the goods sourced from Montecito? Does the term minimalist describe a specific style? Are there any kind of similar companies that use Montecito and/or minimalist to advertise similar goods? And then who's the typical consumer and where are the goods purchased, right? And because this was an online shop, it was basically just me sending in screenshots of just, hey, this is what I sell. It's on pillows, it's on tote bags, it's on coffee mugs available at the shop. Yeah, that's basically how it all went. It was actually a really easy checklist, and I tackled the geography part where I just said, hey, Montecito is an aesthetic. It's not a literal choice. These products aren't from Montecito. I'm just using it as like an aspirational brand, right? Because, there's like a bunch of gajillionaires up there. So, so basically, I had to explain the brand and goods. I had to explain that minimalist was sort of the aesthetic choice, not the literal feature. And then, of course, geography. Montecito was a metaphor and it's aspirational. So I don't like using this term. It's very millennial of me. But Montecito Minimalist is more of a vibe where American Riviera Orchard sounded like that was where the origin of goods was sold from. And that's why I ended up getting Montecito Minimalist as a trademark. So really quick, just a couple of takeaways. Sign your documents. And when you do file, you don't have to file for 17 or 19 different classes, right? You can file for one. I did, as I'm a pilot. I didn't have a whole bunch of money to throw at this stuff. I didn't have a bunch of lawyers that I could file a bunch of classes, right? If you're opening a restaurant, don't try to trademark garden hoses. Plus, the other issue is that you actually have to show proof that you're selling the garden hoses in order for the trademark to go through. So that's going to be impossible, right? Like, when are you ever going to get a trademark for that? So that's kind of one thing. Keep your classes tight. Be specific on goods or wording, right? Like Montecito and Minimalist. It's an aesthetic. This is just, this is how it looks like. This is how it feels. I'm not speaking for the people of Montecito. I'm not saying that the goods come from there. I don't even live in California anymore. So yeah, so like little things like that. And if you get an office action, it's just a checklist, right? Run it through. Personally, I used AI because, again, I did not have the money to go to a trademark lawyer, but I basically used it as a tool. I answered it. I said, hey, make this sound a little more professional. And then I submitted that particular paperwork and it worked. So for me, my trademark only cost me $350 and, some time too. And this is editing Rachel. I actually just realized I should probably put my responses that I did to the USPTO. So here are my actual responses. So you can take a moment to pause and read these if you'd like. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.